What is going on, guys? MMA Island team, we got the fight picks, and we got Billy Quarantillo taking on Kyle Nelson. Uh, man, this is a very, very interesting fight. Both have very, very impressive records, but I will pass it on to Zach to start us off.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my lock of the night, Billy Quarantillo. And there are a couple of reasons why. There have been very few performances in the UFC that I have been more impressed by than his win over Jacob Kilburn. It is to this day, and it was crazy because I think it was the fight after Joe Solecki versus Matt Wyman, back to back, two of the most absolute dominant performances I think I have ever witnessed. Billy Quarantillo took down Kilburn and absolutely demolished him. Okay, I'm going to pull up the numbers for this because so you can have an idea of how absolutely insane it was. Total 74 significant strikes for Quarantillo to Kilburn's 3 and 139 total strikes to Kilburn's 6. But what we know about Billy Q is he is so well-rounded. He has an amazing striking game and the amazing grappling game as well. And Kyle Nelson, we know that Kyle Nelson has a fatal flaw, and a very fatal flaw it is. After the first round, Kyle Nelson is absolutely a sitting duck, but in that first round, he is dangerous. But we have seen the ability of Billy Quarantillo to survive these dangerous first-round fighters, especially in his last fight against Spike Carlisle. They very stylistically similar. They go out in the first round, they will throw bombs and try to knock you out. That is what they both do. And we saw Quarantillo could weather the storm, and now he has another training camp to prepare for such a thing in Kyle Nelson. And I think the ground advantage of Billy Q is going to play a pretty large factor into this fight. I think he's going to take down Kyle Nelson, whose takedown defense is a 50%. That is not something that you want to see. And the competition level for Nelson outside of Diego Ferreira has been bad. Losing to Matt Sales, who infamously got twisted by Bryce Mitchell, and then a win over Marco Polo Reyes, and you should beat Marco Polo Reyes or you're not UFC caliber, with Matt Frivola being the exception that proves the rule. But the other thing about Nelson is just he has one of the most insane strike differentials I think I've ever seen in my entire life. 2.73 significant strikes landed per minute to 6.35 absorbed. I mean, yeah, you can't take a lot of stock into that because it is only 3 fights, but with someone who likes to throw volume like Quarantillo, shots are going to land. Absolutely, shots are going to land. And if this fight leaves the first round and there is live betting odds, put your rent money down on Quarantillo. After this first round, Nelson is a sitting duck. He is not dangerous in the absolute slightest. Billy Quarantillo by a late finish or decision. Easy money.
All right, fair enough. Man, as I mentioned, Billy Quarantillo, crazy fight with Spike Carlisle. We saw in the shout out to Betch Kohea, Spike Carlisle heard the clapper at 10 seconds and thought the round was over. And Billy Quarantillo, being the killer that he is, he ran up to Spike Carlisle and hit him with a left hook as Carlisle was walking away, thinking the round was over. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me for Quarantillo. But man, also looking at him, coming off COVID, I will mention that Matt Frivola fighting on this card as well, a teammate of him. And that fight was called off with Frank Camacho, who is also on the card, which is insane. The only thing we need Justin James to be on the card. Obviously, it's probably not the greatest idea after his loss. But going back in and talk about this fight, Kyle Nelson, a guy who is actually from Huntsville, Ontario, which is like about a 30-minute drive from where I am. So he's very, very close. He represents the 705, as do I. And man, pretty impressive records on both sides. As I mentioned in the start of the video, these guys are finishers. This is definitely a fight that you would expect to not go the distance. But I wouldn't be shocked. So talking about these guys' games, you mentioned talking about their stats, at least in the UFC, totally lopsided. Landed per minute, 7.43 for Quarantillo at 79% accuracy. absorbing 2.82 per minute, 43% striking defense, which isn't the greatest. But looking at Kyle Nelson, 2.73 landed per minute and 6.35 absorbed per minute at 36% accuracy landing. That's not too good at all. So I think that's really what leads me towards picking Billy Quarantillo. And I will be picking Billy Quarantillo just looking at the fights, man, looking at what we've seen out of these guys. Now, you can't really look at Kyle Nelson's losses and show that he has uh, too crazy of a weakness. If you obviously look at Matt Sales, you mentioned how he has the twister loss to Bryce Mitchell. I think he only has one submission win, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that one submission win, it is one submission win over Kyle Nelson. So what we've seen Kyle Nelson be a little bit vulnerable, and obviously getting knocked out by a guy who typically isn't a puncher in Diego Ferreira. Um, just looking at this, man, I have to lead with Billy Quarantillo. It's also interesting to see that Kama Worthy is a win on Kyle Nelson's record in the first round. As you mentioned, that's typically where Kyle Nelson gets it done, and I will actually agree with you. I think I was really, really impressed with Billy Quarantillo in his fight with Spike Carlisle, how he was able to handle the second and third round, and just handle the fight in general. I was really, really impressed. It was a great, great fight. Just getting the transitions, just winning the striking exchanges. His stats in that fight were absolutely insane. I think that's kind of why it shows that his striking accuracy is through the roof, because he got 74% accuracy in a fight that went the distance. You don't see that very often. And then obviously throwing 86 significant strikes, landing 86% of them against Jacob Kilburn. Got to go with Quarantillo on this one. I just think that this is another point of where these guys are vulnerable and where they're at in their career. So currently Quarantillo is on a 7-fight win streak going into this one. His last loss was a knockout against Michel Quinones, a guy who really probably shouldn't have lost to. This guy also hasn't fought in 3 years. So could you call it a fluke? Possibly. So if you are on the side of calling that one a fluke, you would have to go like even more fights back. So just doing the quick math on this one, 8, 10, 12, 14 fights ago would be how far you'd have to go back for his last loss. He started his career 2-1 at some point, and then ending it, being currently here at 14-2. Very, very impressive. Gonna have to go with Quarantillo on this one. I want to go for the hometown dude and the monster, Kyle Nelson, but I will go with Quarantillo in this one. I think it's a very, very close fight, but have to give the advantage to Quarantillo. All right. So, like I said, man, this is a really, really close fight. We're both going with Billy Quarantillo. We want to know who you guys got, so make sure you guys are letting us know in the comments who you guys got for this one. As I said, man, very, very close, so I won't be shocked if a lot of you guys go with Kyle Nelson, but make sure you guys are letting us know. Make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys check out the other Fight Pick videos.